As I'm standing here behind the end zone at Williams-Brice Stadium, I'm trying to, in my head, come up with an interesting way to open this post-game recap and come up with a cool monologue to begin this. But there's just really nothing to say other than the fact that South Carolina lost 31-7 to Vanderbilt tonight. And look, you guys know me well enough by now to know that I don't like to sugarcoat things. I just call it how I see it. And going to be straight up, this was, quite frankly, a really embarrassing performance for South Carolina tonight. This felt like Ole Miss last year, but just really, really bad. And there were moments where it's like South Carolina was in this game early on. They go down 7-0 right away after Vanderbilt takes the ball down the field, 73 yards in 5 minutes, and has a really good opening drive. And South Carolina responds with a really nice drive of its own. 7 plays, 75 yards. Rasul Faison, 8-yard touchdown. Lenore Sellers, we'll get into him in a little bit here with his injury update. Really good to start this game. 2 for 2 passing, 46 yards. And then, there were moments where it's like, all right, South Carolina's still hanging around. And then slowly but surely, the snowball just started coming in. It hit South Carolina at full speed like a truck coming in and just could never recover. So let's get into Lenore Sellers. No real injury update from Shane Beamer after the game tonight. Same goes for Casey Henry, who exited this game early. In case you missed it or you're just wanting to hear about it again, Lenore did go down with a injury at the end of the first half. He took a big hit from Vanderbilt, and it led to that player that hit him being disqualified for targeting. And Sellers was laying on the ground for a few minutes before the training staff came and helped him get up, and he walked back over the sideline, helmet off, never came back into the game. And Luke Doty was your quarterback the rest of the night, basically starting from the end of the first half with the 2-minute drive and the rest of the way after halftime. And, Doty did fine, but again, at the end of the day, he threw an interception, had a lot of passing attempts, completed some balls. I think he had 18 completions tonight. I don't have the stats on me because we don't print stats anymore. So, but point is, as Beamer said throughout the night, in his post-game press conference, which only lasted a few minutes, he just said they weren't good enough tonight, and that goes for everyone. So that's kind of just the summary of this game. I mean, Carolina, they had this game tied at 7, and then Vanderbilt went on a 24-0 run the rest of the way. And I think, you look at Sellers being out, and it kind of just feels like maybe that is the excuse for why South Carolina lost this game. But no, there are so many other problems with this team right now after 3 games to where it's like you can't just pinpoint this game and this loss being on the fact that Sellers wasn't out there. Would it have made a difference if he were healthy? Yes, of course. It would make a big difference if he were out there offensively, because there were some things that Beamer did like that he saw out of the offense in the first half. He did note that they were able to get down the field, move down the field in 3 of their 4 drives, yet only came away with 7 points. But again, Sellers is one player, and for as great as he is, he has not been off to the greatest start this season. And, the defense really did not have a good game. They gave up 31 points tonight. That's a big issue. You turn the ball over multiple times in this game, and you missed a field goal. There were so many problems that go beyond losing one guy. We talk so much about Sellers and the Heisman hype and all that, which, quite frankly, is probably just not even a thought at this point. But he's one guy. This is a team sport after all, and when you play the way you did tonight, it's a losing effort on all fronts. And it's a game you got to try to move on from quickly. We don't know what the severity of whatever injury Sellers has right now, how long he's going to be out, what's the plan. We'll know more tomorrow on Sunday when we do talk with Beamer during his Sunday night teleconference, which will be at 5 o'clock. We'll have all live updates on GamecockCentral.com, full transcript, injury report, all that good stuff. So head on over to GC, our website, check it all out tomorrow night. But right now, if Sellers is out for a few weeks, what does that mean for this offense? What do you do moving forward? Because, what you saw from Doty tonight was okay at best, but do you really feel good about this offense with him under center, or anyone under center for that matter that's not named Sellers? It changes a lot. And, again, you got to have this defense playing better. Vanderbilt converted way too many times on 3rd down this game. I believe they went 6 of 12. 50% of the time they were converting in those situations. So many missed tackles, so many mistakes made throughout this game, a lot of penalties. I mean, it just was really a mess, and you'd like to move on from this one real quick and just, put it in the back of your mind and forget it ever happened, but you got to learn from it, because it's not like South Carolina's played great in these first 3 games. Again, the Virginia Tech game, that was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. It took a special teams touchdown and some nice defensive plays at the end to win that game by as much as you did, and end up covering at that point. Then SC State, we thought, okay, they won 38-10, a lot of issues, but hey, you had the lightning delay, and that screwed things up and all that. But then you see tonight, and it's like all the problems that you've had before, now they have not gone away. They're still here, they're still prevalent, and you got to find a way to fix it now. You go to Missouri next week, Saturday night, 7 p.m., ESPN in Como, a place that you have not won in since 2017. I mean, Como is a house of horrors for South Carolina, and it's going to be tough to win there. And we thought, this part of the schedule, okay, like Vanderbilt, Missouri, Kentucky, you should have a chance to go 5-0 heading into that first bye week, and then you get LSU. But, you see the reaction online and stuff on the message boards and all that, and Twitter, and, the wavering optimism is kind of just, boop. And, I don't know. I mean, I still feel like South Carolina can be a relatively good team, but, like I said, I'm not going to, lie about it. I think I'll share my honest opinion. I don't think South Carolina is in a very good spot right now, and I could see this season going pretty bad pretty quickly, especially if you don't have sellers out there. So, like I said, the Gamecocks will be back in action next Saturday to take on number 25 Missouri out in Columbia, Missouri. Going to be an interesting game. 7 p.m. ESPN under the lights. Once again, Carolina loses 31-7 to Vanderbilt this evening. Vanderbilt snaps a 16-game losing streak dating back to their last win in 2008 over the Gamecocks, and South Carolina moves to 2-1 on the year and 0-1 in SEC play. So, for GamecockCentral.com, I'm Jack Veltri.